An alarming statistic states that about 800,000 lives will be saved, according to the World Health Organization, if every child was breastfed within the first hour, given breast milk for at least 6 months, and continued for up to 2 years. My goal is to persuade you or someone that you know to breastfeed for a minimum of 6 months to gain the maximum benefits of a health-promoting and disease-preventing choice that benefits the mom and the baby. I have done research and gathered information from credible sources in preparing for my speech. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, it is recommended that you breastfeed for at least 6 months. This is a recommendation from the U.S. Surgeon General, the World Health Organization, also called WHO, the Women and Infant and Children's Program. I want to share with you facts about breast milk, benefits to the mother and baby, some formula feeding facts, and some information about different sources that are available to help the mother and the baby while breastfeeding. At the moment of conception, a mother has from then until birth to decide if they want to breast or bottle feed their infant. There are many factors that can weigh into a mother's decision. Some mothers can't breastfeed due to different reasons. An article titled "About Breastfeeding" stated that some find it far more difficult and painful than expected and decide that the stress is bad for their relationship with the new baby. Others find it difficult to pump breast milk while at work. Society should encourage employers to provide and secure private places where women can pump their breast milk and store it for later use. I personally chose to breastfeed all 3 of my children. One reason was because I felt like it was the best decision that I could make at the time for their health. Another reason was because of the bonding process that occurs during the time between the mother and the child. According to a Harvard study, if 90% of mothers in the United States breastfed exclusively for a year, they would save $13 billion in a year for medical costs and prevent over 900 infant deaths. When you choose to breastfeed, you make an investment in your baby's future. Breastfeeding allows you to make the food that is perfect for your baby. A mother's milk gives the baby the healthy start that will last a lifetime. The cells, hormones, and antibodies in breast milk protects babies from illness. This protection is unique and changes to meet your baby's needs. Women'sHealth.gov states that before a mother's milk comes in, she has something called colostrum. I always referred to it as liquid gold because colostrum is very rich in nutrients and includes antibodies. Colostrum also helps your newborn infant's digestive system to grow and function. Your baby gets only a small amount of colostrum at each feeding because the stomach of a newborn infant is tiny and can hold only a small amount. Colostrum changes into mature milk by the 3rd to 5th day after birth. An article called Breast Milk explains that breastfed babies have lower risk of asthma, childhood leukemia, childhood obesity, ear infections, dermatitis, lower respiratory infections, and sudden infant death syndrome. There are also many health benefits to the mother. Breastfeeding lowers the mother's risk of type 2 diabetes, certain types of breast cancer, and ovarian cancer. It can also help the mother to lose weight that they gained during pregnancy. Many women who breastfed their babies said it helped them to get back to their pre-pregnancy weight more quickly, but experts are still looking at the effects of breastfeeding on weight loss. An article called Breastfeeding states that clearly breastfeeding is beneficial to both the mother and the child. At least one national medical organization, the American Academy of Pediatrics, has strongly endorsed breastfeeding. Yet national rates of breastfeeding are well below what the clinical evidence indicates would be the optimal. The evidence also shows that the medical schools are not training the physicians to play a strong role in promoting breastfeeding. This is where childbirth educators must step in. They must be the leaders in educating the mothers and the advocates by promoting better hospital policies that would allow and encourage the mother to breastfeed. There are many different sources and helpful tools that mothers have available that can help them with their breastfeeding journey. Lactation consultants are available at hospitals for mothers to get help as soon as their babies are born. Lactation consultants are certified breastfeeding professionals with the highest level of knowledge and skill in breastfeeding support. When I gave birth to my first child, it was obviously a complete new experience, and I had no idea what to do. I had read several breastfeeding books during my pregnancy, but in reality, you cannot read how to swim. You have to get out there and do it, and it's the same way with breastfeeding. I had a lactation consultant help me with the majority of the feedings at the hospital with my first child, and it was a huge benefit. Another source that mothers have are certified lactation counselors. A breastfeeding counselor or educator teaches about breastfeeding and helps women with basic breastfeeding challenges and questions. These counselors and educators have special breastfeeding training. Other mothers that have breastfed can also be a great help as well. One of my dearest friends had children just before I did, and I relied on her so much for help and encouragement. As you can see, breastfeeding gives the baby and the mother so many more benefits, and it's far greater than bottle feeding. I will give you a few facts about bottle feeding. Formula can be harder for the baby to digest. Formula is made from cow's milk, and it often takes time for baby stomachs to adjust to digesting it. Formula feeding supplies can cost well over $1,500 a year. That could be money that the parents use towards necessities for the baby. In conclusion, I understand that some circumstances make it hard or impossible for some mothers to breastfeed, but when all possible, it is best for the mom and the baby. Breastfeeding my children was one of the greatest experiences in my life. I believe that it's the way God intended it to be. I knew that nobody else could do that task for my baby but me. And it was such a special time for the babies and myself. I would encourage any mother that I could to consider breastfeeding their children. But I also understand that it's not for everyone. I have seen mothers that wanted to breastfeed so badly, but circumstances just would not allow it. I always tried to lift those ladies up and help them understand that the baby would be just fine and offer them support. Although I am and always will be an advocate for breastfeeding, as it's something that I strongly believe in and have a passion for. Are there any questions?
Can I breastfeed if I'm taking medications?
This depends on the medication, and there are many medications that we consider safe to be taken while breastfeeding. There are also some that are not considered safe at all, though there are alternatives to these medications.
How do you know if your child is getting enough breast milk?
Breastfed babies have signs that they are growing and getting enough breast milk. These include